Hey guys, a couple years ago, October 5th, 2015 to be exact, I did a video where I listed my 4 favorite Phantom of the Opera films. Well, I just rewatched this one, and I think I found my 5th favorite. This is the 1962 Hammer horror version of The Phantom of the Opera, starring Herbert Lom as the Phantom, with Heather Sears, Edward de Souza, and Michael Gough. I saw this movie once, probably 10 years ago, when I was at the height of my Phantom obsession. I thought it was okay. It was different. This was my first Hammer horror movie. Since then, I've seen probably 15 others, and I realize now that compared to their other, more sensational Gothic films, this one's relatively tame. Like most Hammer films that are adapted from a book, this version of Phantom strays a lot from the original. In some respects, it has more in common with the 1943 Claude Rains version than with Gaston Leroux's novel, so when it does include some obscure reference to the book, like a Ratcatcher cameo, it's actually kinda shocking. So here are some things I think this version has in its favor. First, Herbert Lom. Now I'm biased, because I've become a fan of Herbert Lom and like him in pretty much every movie I see him in. He's one of those underrated actors who played a lot of villains, but who was actually quite successful with both drama and comedy. Lom has a great voice, which is a huge plus for any actor playing the Phantom, even if he doesn't sing. And the mask, which is of a simple, crude design, covers all but a single eye, so most of the time Lom has to rely on vocal delivery and body language to convey a range of emotions. His phrasing and gesticulating are a little on the theatrical side, but rather than that being a case of overacting, I think it works for the character. This is a man who's been living underneath the London Opera House for years. It becomes evident that he's a little out of his mind, and he hasn't had a real conversation with anyone in such a long time that he's probably forgotten how to do it. His behavior may seem over the top at times, but it's very much in keeping with the character in the book. If you've read it, you know that Eric has more than a few theatrical idiosyncrasies. Lom's Phantom is very serious and driven and intimidating, though not incredibly violent, as the original character's homicidal behavior is deflected onto this dwarf character, who's one of the stranger and more controversial additions of this adaptation. Here's a little trivia for you. The script was written with Cary Grant in mind for the lead. The writers thought softening the Phantom's role would suit his image better, but Grant was actually disappointed and turned it down. Lom got the part, but the dwarf stayed. This is absolutely not a romantic Phantom of the Opera in the sense of a relationship between the Phantom and Christine. He is purely interested in her for her voice. It's the instrument he's been hiding in the shadows waiting years to hear, and now that he's discovered it, he's bent on training that voice into perfection so that she will do justice to his opera in its premiere. So if anything, it's more of a teacher-student relationship, and even then, he's mostly cold and impersonal toward her, even a little abrasive. But lest you think he's not a sympathetic Phantom, reserve your judgment until you've seen the film, especially its climax, which has one of the most powerful and heartrending moments of any Phantom film. I have no complaint against Heather Sears' Christine. No, she isn't blonde, but her voice is pretty, and there's an earnestness about her that's appealing. She has a sweet, innocent look, which makes her easy prey for the lascivious Lord Ambrose Darcy, the real villain of the piece, played by Michael Gough. Now, the big discovery for me when I rewatched this a few days ago was Edward de Souza's performance in the Raoul role. I think this might be one of my favorite versions of that character ever. Despite the fact that he's not named Raoul, his name is Harry Hunter, he's not a patron of the opera, he's the manager or producer or something, basically running the entire operation, and he's not Christine's childhood friend. He sees her for the first time at her audition, just like the Phantom, and chooses her for the part because of her voice, just like the Phantom. So this Harry Hunter guy is good-looking, he's friendly, he's kind, he's smart, he's funny, he's a gentleman, and get this, when Christine tells him that a spooky, disembodied voice spoke to her in her dressing room and told her that it was going to teach her how to sing, he believes her! Do you realize how refreshing that is? Most Raoul characters, when they hear that, are just like, "Oh, Christine, ha ha ha, you pretty little thing, what an imagination you have. Yeah, maybe it's the ghost of your dead father, or an angel of music or something, whatever. Anyway, hurry up and get ready, because we're going out to dinner, I'll be back in 5. Not Harry! He believes her. He comes with her to investigate. He sticks with that investigation. He saves the day. I've never liked Raoul so much as I liked this character. And believe me, I'm almost always rooting for the Phantom, so for me to fall in love with a nice normal guy instead of the deranged and deformed man who lives in the sewer makes for an interesting change. Oh, fun fact, Edward de Souza played Richard Mason in not one, but 2 adaptations of Jane Eyre, 1973 and 1996. My worlds are colliding. Are there things I don't like about this version? Absolutely. Some of the changes and additions are a little strange, and I'm not in love with the opera scenes. It's performed in English, and it's a more modern style than I prefer. But still, I like the final song, and that's the most important part. And even though there are certain classic Phantom-y moments I miss, it's still Phantom enough to make me happy. So it's a good thing I watched this version again, since my impression of it has completely changed. If you've seen it, I'd love to know what you think of it, and if you're a Phantom fan, where does it fall on your list? I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching!